Okay, Cancer, it's your turn. Here is your reading and I guess discussion for April. So, whether you're directly affected by the eclipse season or not, you may have noticed that a lot of people are in change, portal of change, where doors are closing, doors are opening. We're going into a bit of Mercury retrograde, which means let's reflect, reevaluate, rewrite. Maybe our programming, maybe our understandings of how we're moving forward and what we want to be in the world, and how our emotions and all those watery themes that Cancer is so good at governing are playing out for us. So this will be a beautiful reading for you moving forward into April. We should notice some smoothing out of energy after the 8th and quite a bit more retrograde. So in theme of that, we might not be feeling like we can completely start something new, but we can certainly reevaluate past, present, and future around what serves us moving forward and what's the new cycle for us. It kind of feels like for you, my dear crabs, and if you have Cancerian themes in your chart, that it's going to be about balancing where we've been and how we're integrating how we used to be and bringing it into a more healed version of ourselves, and how that really serves our inner world, our emotions, our intuition, and all those beautiful things that are always dancing around in those deep waters. So it's really about holding the alchemy of both Aries season and maybe some glitches in communication and technology and things like that, and how to bring it into a beautiful place for us, right? A beautiful place for those of us that want to be more in tune with our emotions and our intuition, that want to be more open-hearted and people-orientated and family-orientated, and how to bring that to a place that just feels good for us, for the individual, and serves our communities as well. So starting off, we have, which is interesting about what was sort of coming through just now. Starting off, we have what cycles are ending, what doors are closing, what things are now out of alignment. How can we wrap up a painful period, a difficult event, a difficult theme in our lives, and do all we need to do to close it off. So sometimes this really talks about what closure do we need, what things do we need to put in place, what actions do we need to take to actually close it off and be confident in the fact that it's done. So it might be the understanding that if I want to find a better job, or if I want to be in better relationships, or if I want better friends, I have to close the doors to the ones that now are out of alignment, or I intuitively know I want some distance from, or understanding that the natural parts of our lives are showing us that those cycles are now coming to an end. It could be people moving away, it could be leases ending, it could be contracts ending, and just sort of saying that was difficult, that was tough, it was beneficial, and I know I needed it, but I'm going to take the natural ending, close it off, destroy and uncreate, do your rituals around it, and have it done. And that does involve reflecting, reevaluating, journaling, sitting, meditating in what was that to me, and how can I actively engage in the end? So a lot of people will notice the signs that something's ending, understand from a conscious point of view, I get it, they're moving away, so it's done, or, the book's ended, I've written the book, and there's sadness and grief and a period of, I'm not that person anymore, and that is done. And it's interesting when grief shows up, because it could be that you've put in a lot of work to get your health on track, something like that, and you've done all the testing and you've taken all the things and you've hacked into your routine, and now you're a different person. You're a regulated person that meditates and works through their stuff and does the work. The painful ending and the grief shows up to everything that wasn't that. And all the times that you spent stressed and in denial about where you were, and all the people that you attracted, and everything that wasn't good for you. I think it's so much easier to engage and consent in the ending. I destroy and uncreate my relationship with that. And I allow it to leave, and I actively engage in it leaving, which is you saying, thank you. Gratitude for what it was, happy that it's done, able to process the grief when things do end. Because, oh dear Cancer, you are nostalgic, and there is parts of your past now showing up in almost an adult looking back to the child and understanding, oh, I get it now. I get why I attracted those experiences. I get why I was in that coping mechanism. I understand who I am and why I was attracting my own pain and how I was sabotaging myself. And my past has those nuggets of gold and those perspectives, but I can release the child now. This is like inner child work and finding clues in your past and coming at it from an adult's perspective, which is compassionate and empathetic and loving, saying, so painful. Doing the inner child work and saying, I love you, I've got you, we don't have to be in that place anymore. And having that gift of looking after the inner child and looking after your younger self and saying, it's all right, I'm never going to put you through that again. And identifying what that is. It's so much easier if we can understand with our minds what was so difficult about it and identify it. So if the triggers or the activations or the situations come back, we can say, oh no, we're not doing that anymore. I'm not taking you down that road anymore, dear self. I'm not going to let that sabotage get to us again. I'm not going to go to that place of feeling burnt out and abandoned and so lonely in my own suffering. So engage the inner child with this work, whether it's your 8-year-old self, your 5-year-old self, your 12-year-old self, your 20-year-old self. There is a link there, and we can actively engage and say, I get it now, and it's done, and I'm going to look after you from now on in, so that we can move forward into some kind of creative satisfaction, some kind of, this card has many different meanings, but the way I'm going to read it for beautiful Cancerians out there is, if we let go of the past and we close the doors and we're done with the cycles and the patterns and the darkness, and we can say to our younger self, we're not going there again, and I'm grateful for this experience, we can actually feel what a fully creative life feels like, being at the peak and our saturation in creating meaning and purpose and passion and having ideas and projects and art and everything in our lives that says to us, we're not just a cause and effect thinking robot. We're not just subject to doing what we think we need to do. We can be creatively satiated and satisfied. And we can get to that place of like, I actually couldn't take any more passion right now. I'm marinating in it. It's everywhere. I'm in a creative environment. I'm feeling creative. I'm around creative people. I'm taking it all on board. I'm feeling the feelings, which I know you like, Cancer, around what it means to be engaged and passionate and driven in my life. And finding out what the extent of that is, not just sitting down in a creative spark once a year and not just painting one painting. It's, what does it feel like to paint every day? And what does it feel like to create every day? And what does it feel like to be creative in the mind, in the body, in my actions, in the way that I move, the way that I think, the way that I eat? What does it actually feel like to be creatively engaged with every sector in my life? Creatively solving problems, thinking and acting and speaking creatively to everyone in my life. Very different to sword energy. So we're getting rid of just a mental anguish or a mental place of digesting the world and moving into a creative place. But there's an access point there with the inner child. Did that child get the opportunity to be emotionally open, creatively engaged, held, supported, and understood, so that I set up a paradigm of always feeling like that was important to me? Or was there ridicule, criticism, and these thought form ideas around what is not okay? There seems to be this urge from the younger creative self around pursuing something artistic, not for the sake of money, not for the sake of other people's approval, not for the sake of being good at it, not for the sake of being better at it, for the sake of exploring art for the sake of art. Now, art can show up as the way that you move through your life every day, the things that you say, the way that you pursue projects for exploration and emotional satisfaction. And what about a creative endeavor or a project just for the sake of healing your younger self that never could? So if your child self or your younger self, and it feels fairly young, let's sort of look between 5 and 10, that sort of arena where you've already taken on the subconscious programming of your parents, you're moving into being an individual. Like, what did that child need? And how can we put that into art? Is it just the ability to work with other people and do something interesting? Did that child need to be alone to just create till they can't create anymore? Is it about getting your hands dirty? Is it about having conversations? There's something in the emotional nourishment piece with this art that needs to come through. Art comes in a million different forms. So don't limit yourself to painting, drawing, or anything classical. It could be learning an instrument, writing a piece of music, um, writing a dance routine to your favorite song, moving something through your body to heal the child self and to give him or her what they always needed and never had an opportunity to have. That will close the doors on the pain. Your shadow. Woo! So tiger, very cool animal totem. The tiger really talks about not really having any predators in the world except for humans. Huge, expansive amounts of power and the ability to hunt and kill prey and stalk through the jungle. A very prized animal, a very big totem. This energy always talks about reserving your power for the right things and finding satisfaction and beauty in the methods. This is not about the outcome. This is not about what the art or the creative project will mean. It's not about winning the award. It's actually not about the finishing product. It's about moving through something therapeutically in a creative way so that you can find beauty in the process. And if there's beauty in the process, the tiger is calm, focused, engaged. If the tiger is only thinking about the outcome, the stress will send all of your power into nastiness. It could be self-sabotage. It could be blaming other people. It could be using your words unwisely. That tiger energy we do not muck around with. Big cat energy says, where are you putting your power? We know you have it. We can see that. But if you put your power towards the wrong things And if you're actively engaged with spreading more fear and more anger in the world, then that tiger will destroy something. Focusing that power, understanding the processes and the methods of getting you there is the creative satisfaction, is the healing, and getting out of the mind's construct around what it means and where we're going and why. Don't do it for the sense of achievement. Don't do it to boast to anyone. Do it for your own sense of satisfaction, which is nourishing for you and will create more creative juice for the future. So slow down into the process, create it with beauty in mind, with day-to-day satisfaction, the long-term commitment to an artistic life and healing the past. So we can always be closing doors to things that just represent too much suffering. I love you, Cancer. Happy April. See you soon.